morning. Hello, I am Kim Kesti, Creative Director here at FSJ, and I'm so excited to be here today because it feels like it's a T3 kind of day. What do you guys think? T3 stands for tools, tips, and techniques, and I'll try to come to you at least once a week to share some of those very things with you. And today we're going to be doing all three, but it's a little bit different project today. We're going to be working on a scrapbook layout. Now, how many of you out there are scrapbookers? Now, if you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay, just give me a little shout out in the messages. Tell me if you do scrapbooking. Maybe share a little bit about what size scrapbooking you do. Today, I'm going to be working on a 12 by 12 layout. So that is probably one of the most traditional size scrapbook layouts there are. And I'm super excited because if you are watching this live, or at least you're watching it in the month of September, all of the FSJ cardstock in the 12 by 12 size and the 8.5 by 11 is on sale right now. So I thought, what perfect time to celebrate that by doing a scrapbook layout in 12 by 12. Now you'll see what I have here is the Good Life collection of colors. Now all of our colors are on sale, but I thought these would be particularly fun to play with today. And I've also added a little extra in there. This is Oatmeal Cookie, which is not in the original Good Life collection, but look how pretty it matches. Love adding that color in with any of ours. So when I went to do my scrapbook layout, usually what I do is I go off the photos I'm going to use. In other words, I pick my photos first, and then I pick my color palette. So I'll be sharing those photos in a little bit, but they are perfect for any of these Good Life colors. So what I went ahead and did, I went ahead and picked chambray shirt for my basic color, and then I'm going to layer it with some oatmeal cookie, and that's going to become the base of my scrapbook layout. Now these pretties I'm going to set aside because I'm sure I'll be doing more pages later. To actually create the base for my scrapbook layout, I went ahead and trimmed a oatmeal cookie down by just a little bit. I've already done that, so you don't have to watch me trimming. So what I've basically done is just created it so I have about a 1/4 inch border all the way around. So I just love how that frames it, so when it goes in my album, it's just going to have that nice little frame around it. Now, because I want to dress it up a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and take this oatmeal cookie and I'm going to round all 4 corners. So we have our brand new little corner rounder. Isn't this adorable? Our little FSJ corner rounder. So I'm just going to easily go in and just punch all 4 corners. And that's just going to add a little softness to my layout. Because the Good Life, if you're familiar with the Good Life collection, is kind of that, you know, softer, more country style layout. So now I want to do some fun things with my background. So I'm actually going to set my chambray shirt aside for just a minute. And I'm going to bring in one of our stencils. Now you can tell that this is a well-loved stencil. It's not one of the brand new ones in our collection, but it's still an absolute favorite. And I think it's perfect for the Good Life. It kind of reminds me of the tile pattern or a cement tile that would have been in Grandma's house or whatnot. So I'm going to take my stencil, and this one is called Circle Bliss, by the way. That's the name of that stencil. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in some of our chambray shirt ink and a dauber. This is the larger of the 2 dauber dowels. And I'm just going to come in and stencil and bring some ink in right to my oatmeal cookie. Now I'm going to put the stencil fairly close to the top. And I want a pretty soft edge, so I'm not too worried about going off the edge here. If I do feel like I'm getting close, you could put a scrap of paper to kind of, you know, mask that off or block it off. But I'm basically going to come in, dab off just a little bit, and just come in with the chambray shirt and keep the edges pretty soft. So again, you can see that the ink just lays down beautifully. You don't need a lot of heavy pressure. Kind of do a circular motion. And again, if I'm not getting into every single little crack, I'm not super worried. I'm going to go a little bit more toward these 2 edges because you'll see that I'm going to want to move my stencil and kind of match it back up. So that's going to give me a pretty good line to match that up. So first of all, stunning, gorgeous already. I'm so excited. Love how the chambray looks on the oatmeal cookie. So in order to just continue my pattern, I'm just going to take my stencil, line it back up over here. And at this point, I can just move my stencil around any direction I want. I'm going to go a little bit of a diagonal for this layout. I do want a little bit more up here, so again, just move your stencil. See how quick this is? It's really not complicated. It looks really, really stunning though, like you've spent a ton of time. And again, move my stencil again. Go a little bit farther down here. Our True Color Fusion inks are so strong and so wonderful with their color, with the pigment and the oil combination. They're a hybrid ink that they just lay on so beautifully. It's like no effort at all. I'm going to go a little bit farther down here. And again, you have the idea, just kind of keep coming around, just doing as much or as little of that pattern that you want, and it creates an amazing background for your photos. So again, you could go wall to wall and do the entire 12 inches. That would be fun too. For my effect, I just kind of went with a little bit softer look. So now I'm going to bring in a couple of our papers from the Good Life prints. Now there's 12 different patterns in the prints, but I just picked 2 of them, and I went ahead and did a couple strips. I strongly feel that when you're doing a scrapbook layout, you should have some sort of grounding. So I'm going to kind of ground where my photos are going to go. I have 2 photos I'm going to use. So I just want to ground them a little bit. So I'm going to put the wood grain about here. That's a 2-inch strip. And I'm going to lay a 1-inch strip on top. And I don't want my layouts super puffy because I'm going to put them in a page protector. But I do like a little bit of layering. I think it's fun. So I'm going to take our cotton chambray shirt, which of course matches beautifully. I'm going to layer a little bit of that on top right where those 2 meet. And then because, you know, why not keep layering? I absolutely love how this boho trim, this is one of our trim packs that we released earlier this year, matches the Good Life collection. Absolutely love it. So I love this real kind of chunky jute trim. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and layer that guy right up too. So see how just that simple layer, it's still quite flat, but it just gives you some fun layering effects. Now of course I'm going to go ahead and adhere that all down and have that ready to go. I'm going to set it aside just for now because I'm not quite finished prepping this little piece. Because the Good Life collection to me is kind of a home style farm look. It's got that warmth, the kind of the stitching, makes me think of the stitching, the chambray, kind of all those patterns. I thought it would be fun to stitch on this layout. Then I was like, wait, maybe I want kind of a faux stitching look. If I don't want to haul my sewing machine out, which I do occasionally on my layouts, but I thought, you know what, I can get that same exact look with a brand new piercing mat and our piercing template. So let me bring those in. This is the piercing mat, and so it's a high density foam mat, so it's got a lot of squishiness to it, and it's the perfect density for piercing. And I also have our basics piercing mat, so absolutely love this guy. Now if you notice that this is a 12 by 12 inch stencil, and if I was coming in with one of my regular full 12 by 12 cardstocks, I could come in and it would fit perfectly on there, and I could do this entire fun stitched border. You see how fun that is, how it perfectly fits the 12 by 12. But remember, I told you I trimmed my cardstock down a little bit, so now it's a little bit too big to fit that, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to come in, I'm going to do partially piercing. So I'm going to match it up on 2 sides right here. And I'm just going to pierce partially around the edge. So you can pick, you know, whatever edges you want. Actually, I think I'm going to do this side over here. Maybe a little bit easier for you to see. So how do I pierce it, right? So we have our amazing bloom tool, which I know a lot of you out there have. And if you don't, you absolutely need it. And the bloom tool comes with many different tips. It comes with 7 different tips in the package. Now this bent piercer could be used for piercing, but I think I want to switch it out to the actual regular piercing tip. Now this comes with the bloom tool. And if you don't know how to switch it out, or if you've never switched your bloom tool, just take a peek at how easy it is. This has got a little, I guess you would call it a spring-loaded circle right here. So I want to pull it down, and that loosens this tool. So I can just pop it right out. That's the bent piercer. And I want to grab my regular piercer. Now be careful because we also have a tip that looks very similar to this, but it's got a little ball end on it. And that is for embossing. So you want to make sure you have the actual piercing tip. It's pretty sharp, so you should be able to recognize it. So again, you're going to pull this down, and do you see the little ball that pops out right here in the bloom tool? That's where you want to line up these little dimples. So you're going to slide it in. You could put it way out here. But because I'm going to put a lot of pressure on my piercer, I think I want to lower it, maybe even all the way down. So again, light it up with that ball. You can kind of feel it. And then when you let this go, you can feel that it locks in place. So if you've never switched a tip on your bloom tool, it's time to be brave and get in there and switch that tip. This is absolutely perfect for piercing. Now again, I won't pierce the whole thing because, you know, unless you want to have a a little sleepy time here, but at least I'll do a little bit to show you how easy it is. So you just come in with your piercing tool, and the foam mat's the perfect density to give you the perfect depth of pierce every time. So again, you just follow the pattern. I'll go around the corner. Your holes are not going to be too big, too small. They're going to be the perfect size every time. So come around the corner a little bit here. And again, I would go as far as I wanted to kind of give you that faux stitching look, and check it out. Is that not fun? It just adds that just really fun handmade look. Gives you the idea that you've stitched it with a sewing machine, but of course you haven't. You've just used your amazing little piercing template. So love that. So to finish this base, I would do the same thing here. I would come along and do a little bit of stitching on the bottom corner, you know, just to kind of frame in my layout here. And again, come with your trim pieces that are going across the front. You would adhere those down. And then I want a few little accents. So let me show you what I brought in for my accents. First thing I did was cut one of our cottage blooms. So this is all 4 of the cottage blooms. I just did one pass, one of each size. I didn't do the center because I'm going to use something else. But the cottage bloom die set is just darling. It looks kind of spindly like this, but wait till you see it when it's layered. I'm going to put just a really gentle crease. Again, I don't want my flower too puffy, because remember I have to fit it in my album. But look how when you layer this flower, how fun it gets. So easy, so fun. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 layers. Kind of put that guy there, and one more. And you've got the perfect little daisy-ish cottage bloom. Love it. Okay, so for one of my accents I want to have layered with this, I absolutely love this little frame it die. Now this is actually a die that you can earn for free. It's in our holiday mini catalog. And look how fun it is. 3 darling pieces. And this one right here, again with the stitching on the edge, is absolutely one of my favorites. I pulled it out because I said, you know what? This is the perfect size for a little journaling card. And that's exactly what I did here. I'm going to kind of layer it here. I can do my journaling, and it's just the perfect spot. So love the frame it die set. And for my title, I'm going to go ahead and use this title, the stamped title, Life is Beautiful. And I'm just going to frame it with one of our circle around die sets. So I won't go ahead and stamp it here because you guys are really good at stamping, I know already, and you don't really need to watch me do that. But that becomes the perfect title for my layout. One more thing I want to use as an accent, and I want to run this by you guys. If you have not seen, this is another freebie that you can get in the holiday catalog, in the Journey Holidays. This is called Golden Leaves, and check out how beefy this is. I mean, this is a 12-inch piece of paper here. So this little freebie here has got so many amazing, gorgeous leaves. I'm just going to pull them out because they're not chipboard. They are actually wood leaves, and they are so gorgeous. Some of them have a beautiful kind of coppery finish. Some of them have a sparkly finish. I'm going to go ahead and grab one leaf that's plain, and I'm going to grab one that's got a dark roast finish on it. So both of these are super sticky, like they've got an adhesive on the back. You can see they're sticking to my fingers. Since I don't want them super sticky, I'm going to show you a trick how to take some of that stickiness away. I have our pan pastel here, and this is the colorless pan pastel. It's called a blender. It's got absolutely no color. Let's set these flowers aside for a second. So you can take this and it almost becomes like a powder finish. You just pull some up and just pat some on that adhesive. Right? Does that make sense? It's almost like the old baby powder trick, except this is absolutely colorless, so it's not going to affect your embellishment at all. So guess what? Now it's not sticky anymore. I can go ahead and use it as an accent because I kind of want to pop it up just slightly with the foam square. And if I leave it sticky, it's not going to do that. It's going to want to just stick to my page. So fun little tip for you. Colorless blender will take away all that sticky adhesion. So again, I have 2 leaves here. I'm going to use one in this corner with my journaling block. And I'm going to use one up here in my title. But the more I looked at this leaf, I thought, you know what? It needs a little color to it. Do you think? I think so. So I'm going to grab the chambray shirt ink. I already have some on my dauber because I just used it. And I'm just going to come in and dauber a little bit of chambray on the edge of the sleeve. So look how quick and easy. So any of those leaves from this set that are just the plain wood veneer, think about adding color to them with any of your inks, or splashes, or sprays, or any of the fun stuff. It would be so awesome. So, super cute. I'm going to leave this one as it is and layer that guy. Now, before I add my photos, I'm going to go ahead and take some dark roast silk. I'll flick a little bit on here. I won't do the whole thing, but those of you who have not used the dark roast, it's one of my favorite silks. It's so rich and yummy. I just love it. I've already shaken it up, so most of that metallic's gone, but I would kind of lay out my embellishments and go ahead and add some of the dark roast. See how it just brings that to life a little bit? I put a little bit on my leaves and flower, my journaling card. So again, just adding that little bit of silk adds so much texture to my layout. I absolutely love it. So one more thing, I'm going to take a summer branch die, and because this guy is already dark roast, I'm going to cut one out of a brown. You can use dark roast. I chose to use hazelnut, but love this summer branch die with the Good Life collection. Just seems like it matches just perfect. All right, should we take a look at the finished layout? I want to hear a drum roll out there. Dun, 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 dun. I'm looking at Roy going, where's my drum roll? Okay, so check it out. One more thing I used for a little accent. I thought that this guy was really fun. This was kind of a fun tip. I have some cottage pearls on there, meadow pearls, excuse me, the blue chambray ones. But the clothespins, I absolutely love these mini clothespins, and again, they match the Good Life so beautifully. But I didn't want them sticking up on my page because, again, I feel like they're going to be too tall to put in my page protector. So guess what? Just think about laying the clothespins down flat. They don't have to be up always. Just use them as cute little accents. Lay them down flat. I just put a little dab of our craft glue, and it holds them in place perfectly. So I've got one little clip there, and then I've got one little clip up with my title block. So I've just tucked it in there, and it just gives that sweet homespun look. So again, there's my title, Life is Beautiful, my little leaf with my summer branch, my two photos, isn't that special? This is my son, daughter-in-law Brittany, and their little baby Mason. So fun. So again, put a little bit extra information down here with my journaling. Just has their names and the date, and my own personal journaling here. So I'm so happy with how this layout turned out. I love that I can add scrapbook layouts, and I don't have to worry about being current. You know how I do my scrapbook layouts? I just really go by the photos. I say, you know what? I love these photos. I feel inspired. Maybe they're not the photos that are next in line to be scrapbooked. To me, that doesn't matter. I just want to take photos that inspire me. And again, when I saw those photos, immediately I thought, Good Life collection, it's just perfect. So I was so happy with that. Happy to have one more page to go into my album. I love that. So again, are you scrapbookers? Do you love to do it? Do you do 8.5 by 11? Do you pocket scrapbook? Because that's really fun. And we have an amazing system of albums that do pocket scrapbooking. Would you guys like to see me do one of those someday? Just give me a shout. I love to try all kinds of new things when I do tools, tips, and techniques. So again, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions about any of these products or the sale that we're having right now in the month of September, just please head over to the website at funstampersjourney.com. We'll see you next time.